I'm Alex Myler.
I am Emma Johnson.
And we are the assistants here at the Nelson Group. Today we wanted to talk to you a little bit about what's happening in Bonneville County in regards to metrics and in regards to marketing and what's happening in our area. We have a really awesome tool that's called Area Pro that gives us like instant, clear data. As you guys probably know, Idaho is a non-disclosure state, so it's actually really hard to get sold information. Really hard. If you hear a Zestimate or you hear any of those like search aggregate websites, they're like, we know how much. They don't. It's a lie.
They don't. No.
There's no way. It's actually very favorable for our state because it helps us with, tax assessments and those things. Just makes a little bit more work on the government side. Mm-hmm. However, it does sometimes give our consumers a little bit of a disadvantage. So we wanted to take some time today to show you what's happening in multiple markets inside our own market right now and what's happening in Bonneville County. And this actually gives us access to MLSs across the nation, right? I'm not just making that up? Okay, cool.
No, you're not.
Around the nation. So if you are somebody who's watching this right now and you want to know specific market information about your county or your city or your mom's house somewhere else, like, please let us know. We can pull that data and we can let you know. This is all very wonderful.
Yes. So the great thing about Area Pro is all of the teams that we're networked with through Place have access to this program. So if you have any questions about, I'm not going to say literally anywhere, but maybe anywhere, we can connect you to partners that have access to that data. So we hear a lot that, I'm waiting for the market to crash, or now's not just a good time to buy. The best time to buy is when it's right for you. And we're going to go through some of the data that's going to help you show that and help you make the decisions that you need to, and give you some insight onto how this market in Q1 of 2025 actually could work to your advantage.
Great. Okay. All right. Let's get started.
Diving straight into market stats, we'll put it right here. Ta-da! If you can't read that, shoot us a DM with your email and we will send it to you. So
we take criticism well.
Yes, we do.
It is
nice.
Constructive? Yeah, that's the word. Actually, only compliments. Sorry.
Yeah, true. No criticism, only compliments. Perfect. Okay, so the first number that I wanted to share with you guys is that month supply of inventory. That's a very weird niche number to this industry. Most consumers have absolutely no clue what that's actually telling us. Right now in Bonneville County, for homes that are listed under 500,000, our months of inventory is only sitting at 2.5. So what that means is if we had no new homes enter the market at the rate that they are going pending and selling, we would only have inventory for 2.5 months before buyers captured and bought all of the houses that are currently on the market. There's some controversy as to where things slide from a seller's market into a buyer's market, but that's that metric when you're asking an agent, is it a buyer's or a seller's market? That's the number that we're going to be basing that off of. With our team, we tend to sit with the opinion that 4 to 5 months of inventory is balanced. You'll hear some people who will say anywhere from 3 to 6 really is where those numbers tend to sit.
And even in their own price ranges, because every price range is its own market, which is why this data is so valuable. We're talking about 0 to 500,000, and we had before just shared that's a lot of our population and where everyone's at. But there are metrics for other price ranges that would shock you with the pending rate, or it may shock you with the amount of days on market for certain price ranges. So if you're somebody who's looking into buying a home and you're not quite sure where to start, these are really important statistics to kind of like put in your tool belt to position you really well for when you're going forward to put an offer in. Because you don't want to just like hope that everything's right, like a captain's just get in a boat and go. Like, they're gonna calibrate some things. They're gonna check on some pieces of your machinery to make sure everything's operating correctly.
So in that price range, that 0 to 500, there's 249 homes that are on the market. It is January 8th. So that may fluctuate. It may change. But as of right now, of what was on the market this morning, when Area Pro pulled that data, there was 249 homes on the market. Of those houses, 72 of those are under contract. There are a lot of advantages to buying in this market right now. There's a lot of competition for sellers. And there isn't quite as high of a pending ratio as we have seen historically. We're sitting anywhere from 20 to 30% of the homes that are on the market are under contract. So that leaves 75 to 70% ish of that are available to you to view and consider as an option if buying is something that you want to do right now. We're seeing a lot less buyers in the market. I mean, Idaho's not really the kind of state where people are willingly moving in the winter. Nobody wants to move a couch in the snow.
If they're moving, they're like dedicated. That's the one thing about like the winter market is, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like people, although the competition kind of goes down, like you have some seriously motivated people most of the time. Most of the time you have people who are like, I need to get into something now, or I need to get out of something right now. Like it's just people who have to either like get off the pot, kind of, to not use the full idiom, but you know. Yes.
Well, the other piece of the puzzle with that is interest rates. We see a lot less fluctuation of interest rates right now. I know we had some whiplash there for a minute.
Maybe Jan 21. Who knows what can happen? All of our problems will be solved, I'm sure, but we'll see. But yeah, I don't think the interest rates are really gonna.
No. Well, and the nice thing with a little bit less movement on there is that real estate really is just a complicated game of supply and demand. So as we see more buyers entering the market, if you're in really competitive price ranges, and in Bonneville County, that can be anywhere from $300,000 to even $450,000.
Yes.
When we get more buyers in that pool, sometimes that does push that price up of what you're going to have to pay to beat out another motivated buyer that also wants the house that you just looked at. So it can lower that barrier to entry, where you're competing a little bit less. There's some more stability in your interest rates. We have really great partners. A lot of the data that we'll use to talk through came from Envoy Mortgage.
And a lot of experience. Like our whole team has over 30 years of real estate experience. Like there's so much to what knowledge is in this team to share with you, like different options for strategizing and offer different concessions. Something I do want to go in deeper to talk about, especially during Susanna's class, is like there are a lot of options that do favor your buyer. They will help you. Like they will, you as the buyer, they will help you. There's lots of loan opportunities, interesting concessions, creative financing. Like there's lots of strategies that you can use. It's just, are you open to them? As like maybe people who wanted to buy a house in 2024 and didn't do it. Like was that a goal that you didn't hit for last year, and you're just like, well, if I didn't do it last year, how am I going to do it this year? Because what these nice ladies are telling me is that it's not, the interest rates aren't going to change, and that's not going to get any easier, but you can always get better. Your skills can always get better, and you can always have us in your corner to help you. Yes. So I do think that we have some really interesting tools here that we can show, and we could go really far into depth. I'm trying to see if there's another stat that would be good. I do think it's interesting that average home sold per month is 100 like flat right now, which I think is interesting. So although we're having in this market, which is the 0 to 500, so 250 homes are active and 100 are about selling. So there's opportunity. Homes are selling. People are buying. People are moving. So don't think that just because it's not happening for you, it's not going to.
And you may hit that sweet spot here in a couple of months, because we have a lot of sellers in our pipeline that are waiting for spring. We heard that a lot through the winter, as well as we were following up with our clients.
Spring's not that far away now.
No, it's not. And if you can hit that sweet spot of that early spring, where buyers aren't actively flooding into the market yet, but sellers have started to list their home, you may see that active inventory increase, and it will give you more options as a buyer. I know some of us who bought homes in crazy markets were like, that has a door that locks, I'll buy it, let's do this. And like a lot of people were buying houses sight unseen. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, I bought my house sight unseen.
Yeah, that's a story.
That is a story for another time.
Goodness.
Which I love my house. My house is wonderful. But like, what an experience to come into. And some of our sweet sellers or some of our awesome home buyers, like they might experience something like that. And so it's awesome to have the experience of dealing with that and what it feels like to be on the buyer side of that and what that experience looks like.
There's some dangerous nostalgia though in the switch of the markets that like buyers are sitting here of like, and I mean, especially those of us that kind of the younger generation.
I really like that word, dangerous nostalgia.
Yes, dangerous nostalgia.
I like it.
Yes, trademarked. Is that patented? TM, dangerous nostalgia of real estate. Yeah, because like we watched the recession happen as teenagers and as kids.
Yeah.
And now like our generation's ready to buy houses.
Yeah,
Like
like,
let's make this happen.
2008
But we're
was like a crazy year. And
Yeah.
that was a formative year of my
In a
life.
very short amount of time, we had such quick appreciation since the crash. So buyers are sitting here of like, let the real estate market crash. Get me into real estate. That's what I want for my
That's
finances
good
and
for
my
anybody.
wealth. And we want that aspect of it. But then we're also looking at what happened last time the market was flooded with buyers and people were buying houses sight unseen. I mean, even Josh, one of the agents on our team, he bought his property sight unseen.
Yeah.
That it happened so much that it was so competitive. Houses were selling for anywhere from like 2 to 10% over list price. More, you're having to compete, you're having to waive concessions, you're paying for all of your closing costs. Like,
which I will say, as the transaction coordinator, so to go a little deeper into our roles here, just so as we kind of get to know each other more. So I see the background in the contracts. That's really like my role, is I help with, and it was a role that Emma had been doing on top of all of her previous jobs. So she's very, very knowledgeable. This is something I took off of her plate. So she's somebody who was doing the contracts as well. So we both know contracts very well. And the reason I bring this up is because I'm seeing a lot of interesting buyer concessions right now. I'm seeing a lot of very creative ways that people are making themselves stand out. I'm not saying that we're getting into like a multiple offer situation yet. However, I have seen on some properties.
We are getting there on some.
On some properties, I have gotten to that point where it feels like that frenzy again. But then on some other properties, we're able to kind of, we hit so well with the price, which really dictates, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to a point. Maintenance, that around, and condition of home too. But like, we hit so well on the price point that we were able to create some type of a supply demand, FOMO, whatever, the invisible hand, whatever you want to call it. But we were able to create enough of that we actually got some action like that. But then I also have some that we're like taking other considerations. They need a certain number, and we're going that way too. But also, like, I'm not seeing crazy price gouging right now, but I'm also not seeing a lot of people being like low ball offers.
No, it really is the sweet spot of the market right now. Like buyers can come in, they reasonable. Sometimes there's still some decent room for negotiation right now. Once we turn our stats back on, if it'll go, we can even tell you guys. So with Area Pro, it does run all of your sold data information, and people kind of are expecting right now, especially as we're seeing interest rates rising. And honestly, like, a lot of the national narrative isn't necessarily wrong, but it isn't specific to our market. There are some markets that have seen a pretty significant crash. Sellers are having to give away quite a bit. But in our market, between your original list price, so what you listed your house at
Originally,
no like, price reductions,
nothing.
This is what we're going to put it out as, versus what it will sell for, we're only seeing like almost barely a 3%. We're looking at 2.2 of your negotiation room between their original list price and their final list price. So there's about a 2% difference on there. Once that the home goes under contract, we're only seeing about a 1% difference between what the home was listed for when it went under contract and then what the agent disclosed that sold price as. So it's a pretty healthy market. I mean, there's some decent room there. When you're financing an offer, 3% can make a huge difference. If you have a good lender and a good agent who can negotiate that, a 3%, if you can use that as a concession or even a decrease on the price for the seller, there's a lot of different ways that you can sweeten that pot if you find the right property.
Yeah.